We'll begin the news tonight in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, where the Nigerian Economic Summit want active participation of the private sector in providing jobs for the projected teeming youth that will emerge in 2050.
They also want government to create an enabling environment that will attract investment and help fast-track foreign direct investment into the country. Business editor Tolulope Ogunjobi has details.
The Nigerian Economic Summit provides government and private sector an opportunity to reveal the progress made in Nigeria's economic reform efforts and agree on practical ways to manage issues which may have constrained effective policy implementation. This year marks its 25 years since the event kicked off and has the theme Nigeria 2050, Shifting Gears. According to the United Nations, Nigeria's population will double in 2050, and only comparative private sector economy can achieve a rising standard of living and economic prosperity for more than 400 million people.
This is when we need to ensure that whatever it is we do is inclusive and that we care for even those that are at the bottom of the pyramid. This is when we need to pay significant attention to our educational system. You recall the call that, in fact, we need to declare an educational emergency. And this time we need to ensure that people can have affordable health and people can be taken care of. So I'm glad at all the things that were raised, and we don't have the time. The time is now.
No, it was 24%.
Other notable respondents at this gathering want the Nigerian government to push for rapid industrialization, transform the education sector, and encourage peace and security across the country.
We are conscious of the fact that by 2050, most estimates suggest that Nigeria will be the third most populous country, 410 million, 411 million people, of which 65% will be below the age of 35 years. 62% of that will be the workforce. And I think the second challenge is also the urgency of action that I believe is required, such that we can move from a 2%, 3% growth to a growth of 6-9% to ensure that we create shared prosperity.
That population is a threat at the same time, a challenge rather, it's a challenge at the same time, an opportunity. How we galvanize ourselves, because this program is purely government/private sector dialogue in order to fashion of sustainable policy. What is our economic development philosophy that will take care of these frightening challenges that needs to be adequately taken care of?
Day one of the Economic Summit 2019 has come and gone, but deliberations here remains very important as the role of the private sector in an economy projected to hit more than 400 million by the year 2050 has been set out. Many say that there is need to revamp our infrastructure system, also reactivate our educational system, and help build an industrialized economy that can attract all and sundry. Tolulope Ogunjobi, TVC News, Abuja.
Business editor Tolulope Ogunjobi is in Abuja. He joins me now for more on this development. Now, it appears we have Vision 2050, Tolu. Remember that prior to this time, we were talking about becoming one of the largest economies, one of the top 20 largest economies in the world by the year 2020. The interesting feature of these two visions is that they did not originate here in Nigeria. The one for 2020 began in an American university. Now we're talking about information from the United Nations. What is Nigeria expected to do differently in battling what we now look forward to be a population explosion?
Indeed, Nifemi, you are correct. Talking about 400 million people by the year 2050, it's no joke. With what we have on ground, that we can't manage 200 million people. So what are we really putting on ground for us to be able to face that challenge of, but at 2050, when we will be about 410 million, even as the exact figures given by the United Nations. So that is why the private sector and the government is using this platform, the Nigerian Economic Summit, to brainstorm, deliberate, come up with solutions, come up with workable resolutions that they can really see that if it's the education system, if it's infrastructure, if it's about ICT, if it's about improving the economy in its entirety, how well do we go about it so that we can accommodate this figure? Because it's really scary if you look at it. So the private sector guys have come on board and they've said that this is what we need to do. We need to revamp our education system. We need to move with the fourth industrial revolution plan. That's talking about industrializing our economy so that manufacturers can get jobs. We can get more jobs from the small and micro scale enterprises because they are the backbone of any economy that intends to grow. All of these have been put in the fore today, and don't forget that the private sector, they are the ones that know where to put capital so that they can get more gains and they can create jobs. Over the weekend, the National Theatre was handed over to the Bankers Committee. That's a private sector initiative. They want to revamp that environment and create more than 2 million jobs. So the private sector sure has a role to play in making all of this active. So I think the NESG is a good platform for them to bring up all of these policies, let government know what they can do, throw it open, and also let international agencies come and contribute their own quota. Tell them how they were able to do it. The Asian tigers, China, how were they able to revamp their economy? So that is what is being discussed here and how we can get it right, Nifemi.
Are these conversations also get towards a sustainable policy that will outlive a political tenure that will definitely expire in another 4 years, Tolu?
Indeed, that was really brought up, policy somersaults, which has been an issue that has scared investors away from this country. You see that when we get close to any elections, investors move back to their country and take their funds away, and we have problems with reserves and what foreign direct investments and diaspora funds that even come to the country. So they are saying that there needs to be continuity. Government should be a continuum, and policies of government that they know that will attract investment should not be altered. So when this is followed to the latter, investors will be relaxed and they can bring their funds in, and once their funds come in, we are sure of creating more jobs. Government cannot create this kind of jobs that we need to actually activate this economy. It cannot work. There is no way they can do it. Already the civil service is having issues of duplicating efforts, trying to see how they can even reduce the number of the workforce. But if we work with the private sector, grow the agricultural sector, grow the creative sector, these are the sectors where these jobs will come out from. ICT, that's where it will come out from. Our education system needs to be checked. What are the students being taught? What are they seeing outside the labor market? These are issues that are brought to the fore. So I think if all of this is really followed and checked as expected, I think we can address the challenge of 2050 and more than 400 million people at that time. Nifemi.
Very optimistic submission. Business editor Tolu Lopeogujobi is covering the Nigerian Economic Summit for us in Abuja. Keep an eye on all of the details and we'll be back with you shortly.